Welcome, listeners, to Knol, your go-to source for the wisdom of great books condensed into quick, insightful summaries. In this episode, we're diving into Rework, the game-changing business book by Jason Fried and David Heinemeier Hansson. If you're tired of traditional business books that bombard you with the same old, long-winded advice, Rework will be a breath of fresh air. Fried and Heinemeier Hansson flip the script on entrepreneurship, challenging the status quo, and it's all coming up. So whether you're starting a new venture or looking to streamline your current one, stay tuned as we unlock the secrets to reworking the way we work. In Rework, Jason Fried and David Heinemeier Hansson don't just nudge the established pillars of business wisdom, they topple them with refreshing clarity. The authors argue that elaborate business plans can become massive roadblocks rather than springboards to success. Instead of getting bogged down in dozens of pages of projections and estimations, Rework persuades entrepreneurs to launch into the market with their raw ideas and refine as they go. This book teaches that starting small and remaining lean isn't just a convenience for those with limited resources, it's an outright strategic advantage. Forget about trying to forecast and plan every move years into the future. Fried and Heinemeier Hansson empower you to embrace the journey of immediate action, learning, and iteration. The prevailing belief that a traditional business setup is the only path to success is continuously dismantled throughout Rework. With each page, the authors breathe life into a new wave of entrepreneurial spirit, one that's more dynamic, less fearful of change, and more attuned to the realities of today's fast-paced market. Whether you're a fledgling startup or a well-established enterprise, Rework serves as a compelling manifesto to simplify, act, and excel. Now, let's dismantle some productivity myths that have been ingrained in our work culture for far too long. Rework takes a sledgehammer to the false belief that to be busy means to be productive. You've probably been told that the longer you work, the more you get done. But Jason Fried and David Heinemeier Hansson argue that this is simply not true. Instead, they advocate for working smarter, not harder. They point out that workaholics aren't heroes. They don't save the day, they just use it up. The real hero is already home because they figured out a faster way to get things done right. Rework encourages us to rethink our workday, to focus on what really matters and cut out everything else. It tells us that it's not about filling up time with work, but about doing the work that is essential and doing it well. Moreover, the book emphasizes the importance of ample downtime. They propose that creativity and problem solving often happen when we step away from work. Remember, idle time isn't a vice, it's an opportunity for ideas to brew. By busting these productivity myths, Rework offers a refreshing take on how we can achieve more by working less. So, next time you're tempted to burn the midnight oil, consider taking a step back. It's about making every hour count, not counting every hour. In Rework, Jason Fried and David Heinemeier Hansson turn a common business belief on its head. Instead of seeing limitations and constraints as obstacles, they champion them as powerful catalysts for innovation. It's a fascinating concept, right? Imagine you're a chef with a limited selection of ingredients. It pushes you to be more creative in your recipes. The same goes for business. Constraints come in many forms: budget, time, resources, and the authors argue that these should not be viewed as stifling. Instead, they nudge you to think outside the box and find a path that you wouldn't have taken otherwise. Less can truly be more. When you have limited resources, you're forced to trim the fat and hone in on what truly matters. The book encourages embracing the art of subtraction. When we remove the excess, our goals and priorities become crystal clear. It's about making do with what you have and turning the not enough into an advantage. Fried and Heinemeier Hansson put it bluntly: when you can't throw money at a problem, you're forced to solve it with ingenuity and creativity. So next time you're up against a wall, feeling boxed in by limits, think of it as a moment of potential. Constraints might just be the nudge you need to step up your game and innovate in ways you never imagined. Rework will make you look at these constraints not as the chains holding you back, but as the wings that can help you soar to new heights. Meetings and interruptions, those notorious time suckers in the traditional business world, right? Well, Rework takes a sledgehammer to the usual views on these topics. According to Jason Fried and David Heinemeier Hansson, most meetings are just toxic, time-wasting theater. Think about those times you were dragged into a meeting with no clear purpose, watching the minutes, no, hours, escape like sand through your fingers. Rework suggests that we should avoid meetings unless they are absolutely necessary. And how about when you're in the flow, tackling some real meaningful work, and bam, an interruption crashes in and scatters your focus? It's the equivalent of hitting reset on your brain's computer. Fried and Heinemeier Hansson say this is a major no-no. They believe that the true enemies of efficiency are these unnecessary interruptions, especially in creative work, where the cost of being knocked off track is even higher. Instead, they advocate for more asynchronous communication, like emails or messages that can be handled when it suits you. The takeaway? Be sparing with meetings and protect your team's work zone like it's precious, because guess what? It is. Keep the momentum going, nourish productivity by cutting down on interruptions, and your team might just surprise you with what they can accomplish. When it comes to decision-making, Rework articulates a refreshing approach that might just defy what you've been told before. Instead of toiling over choices and overanalyzing options, the authors advocate for speed and decisiveness. They believe that making quick calls keeps the business wheels turning and avoids the inertia that plagues many organizations. In their view, when you make a decision quickly, you reap several benefits. You sidestep overthinking, reduce anxiety, and conserve energy for actions that actually move the needle forward. The authors remind us that decisions aren't forever. They're more like steering a ship rather than choosing a railway track. You can always pivot and recalibrate as you go along. Most compellingly, Fried and Heinemeier Hansson nudge us to accept that sometimes good enough is just that, good enough. It's about making progress rather than seeking unattainable perfection. In Rework, the message is clear. Don't let the fear of making a mistake paralyze you. Embrace the notion that it's okay to figure things out on the fly. After all, momentum in business often depends on the ability to adapt and respond with agility, not on waiting for the elusive perfect moment. When it comes to marketing and promotion, Rework flips the script on the traditional big-budget campaigns we're used to seeing. Fried and Heinemeier Hansson urge entrepreneurs to think guerrilla, not gorilla. Big apes pounding chests? No thanks. We're talking about being scrappy, creative, and incredibly savvy with the resources you have. Let's be honest, not everyone has the luxury of splashing out millions on advertising. But the authors argue that you don't need a Super Bowl commercial to make waves. Sometimes the most compelling promotions come from thinking outside the billboard. It could be as simple as exceptional customer service that gets people talking, or a controversial blog post that goes viral. The key? Do something remarkable, something worth noticing. Rework suggests leveraging the power of your passionate users as brand ambassadors. These are the folks who will sing your praises to anyone who'll listen, and word of mouth is not just effective, it's free. And in today's digital age, a well-crafted tweet or a shareable video can reach further than any primetime ad ever could. Of course, it's also about being wise with the budget you do have. Instead of casting a wide net, Fried and Heinemeier Hansson recommend a laser focus on the channels that truly matter and resonate with your core audience. Maybe it's targeting a specific online community, or maybe it's about a unique partnership with a like-minded business. When your resources are limited, it's not about reach. It's about reach to the right people. In essence, Rework is an anthem for the underdogs. It's a call to arms for businesses to scrap the old playbook and write a new one that champions ingenuity over investment. Next time you think of marketing, remember, it's not about how much cash you can splash, but how cleverly you can make your limited budget echo in the minds and hearts of your potential customers. When building a business, one of the most pivotal elements is undoubtedly the team. And according to Rework, constructing a strong team doesn't follow the traditional route we might think. Jason Fried and David Heinemeier Hansson suggest hiring less and hiring later. It's about adding manpower only when it's absolutely necessary. The authors advocate for small teams of great people rather than larger teams of okay people. They stress the importance of hiring for the long term, looking for those who will fit and amplify your company's ethos and mission. The talent you bring in must be multifaceted and able to wear multiple hats, especially in the beginning stages. Rework introduces the notion that the right people are better than simply more people. These individuals don't just work hard, they work smart and are passionate about what they do. They argue that passion trumps formal education and that enthusiasm is a more reliable gauge of a potential employee's future performance. When it comes to building a bustling team, Fried and Heinemeier Hansson favor creating a team of managers of one, people who come up with their own goals and execute them without constant supervision. It's about finding people who take initiative and ownership, individuals who push the company forward. Rework goes against the grain, instructing business owners to avoid creating unnecessary policies and bureaucracy that can dampen enthusiasm and strangle creativity. Instead, keep the team lean, passionate, and thoroughly sewn into the fabric of your company's culture. Because in the end, the strength of your team is the greatest competitive advantage you can have. In the fast-changing landscape of business, Rework tosses a life preserver to those still clinging to the sinking ship of old, rigid strategies. It's adapt or die out there, and authors Jason Fried and David Heinemeier Hansson are about to tell you why the ability to pivot, swiftly and often, is the hallmark of the modern success story. Adaptability is presented not just as a survival skill, but as an offensive maneuver in your business playbook. Rework encourages entrepreneurs to keep their plans loose and their eyes open, ready to seize opportunities or avert disasters as they arise. The book debunks the myth of the perfect plan, pointing out that too much rigidity can stifle the very growth you're striving for. And learning that's where Rework really hammers it home. The goal isn't just to set up shop and figure you've got all the answers. No, it's about fostering a culture of continuous education where you and your team are always on the lookout for fresher, smarter ways to do things. The market's not going to wait for you to catch up. It rewards those who stay ahead of the curve. Constant learning feeds directly into adaptability. By embracing this dynamic duo, Rework promises that businesses can not only survive, but thrive in a marketplace that's as unpredictable as the weather. To stay ahead, you have to evolve constantly, like a creature perfectly tuned to its environment. In Rework, Fried and Heinemeier Hansson spell out just how to become that creature, a business perfectly tuned to the ever-shifting ecosystem of the modern economy. Thank you for listening to Knol. We hope you've enjoyed distilling the innovative insights from Rework with us today. It's been a journey unpacking the unconventional wisdom of Jason Fried and David Heinemeier Hansson, and we trust you feel enriched and ready to apply their strategies to shake up the business world. Remember, progress comes from questioning the norms and daring to implement change. So take these lessons, stir up the status quo, and carve your own path to success. Stay curious, embrace learning, and never stop reworking your approach to business and life. We're signing off now, but the conversation doesn't end here. Keep exploring, keep challenging, and most importantly, keep executing those great ideas. Until next time on Knol, keep reimagining the possibilities.